my dear students. In the previous class, we discussed about the Indian agriculture, in which we learned the main important food crop, such as rice. Rice is the most important food crop. We discussed about it, its condition, and the areas, and also the methods. So, now in this class, we learn about the second important crop, that is wheat. We discuss here about its condition of growth, sowing and harvesting period, method of wheat cultivation, and also the areas. So students, let's begin. It is believed that the farming began with the cultivation of wheat in the ancient times. In the ancient time means in the Neolithic period, which is nearly about 9000 BCE. So, in this period, the farming begins. So, today, wheat is the second most important food grain in India, only next to rice. So, previously we know that rice is the most important staple food of India because half of the population is living on this staple food. So, next to rice, wheat is the most important staple food for the millions of peoples. From where, in which places? Northern and northwestern part of India. The northern and northwestern part of India, which means Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Madhya Pradesh, Haryana, Rajasthan, Bihar, and Gujarat. So, now here the wheat is classified in two types, which are spring wheat and winter wheat. The main difference between spring wheat and winter wheat is spring wheat is sown in spring season, whereas the winter wheat is sown in winter season. But the difference is the spring wheat is harvested in the falls, where the winter wheat is harvested in the summer season. Both the spring wheat and the winter wheat are nutritious, but the winter wheat is higher protein than the spring wheat. Now, in India, spring wheat is not grown. Spring wheat is not grown due to in India, spring wheat is not grown due to relatively high temperature during this season above 20 degrees C. So, we know that wheat grows in the moderate temperature. So, in India, spring wheat is not grown due to relatively high temperature, that is above 20 degree Celsius. Thus, only the winter wheat is grown in India as tropical and subtropical crop. So, the tropical and subtropical means the temperate region. So, where the in the temperate region, the temperature remains moderate, and also the in the temperate zone, the rainfall remains low. The rainfall condition in the temperate region is low, whereas the temperature is also moderate. So that's why it prefers or give the maximum growth of grains in this region. That's why in this region, that is tropical and subtropical region, the maximum grain growth occurs. So, here we see that Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh account more than 55% of the land under wheat cultivation and produce about 65% of the wheat production in India. Mainly in these regions, that are the Punjab, Haryana, Western Uttar Pradesh, maximum part of wheat production occurs in this region. This region gets what is the region of this amount of growth? This region receives the winter rainfall from the western disturbance. What is the western disturbance? Extratropical storm originating in the Mediterranean Sea or the Mediterranean region. The Mediterranean region that brings a sudden winter rain to the in northwestern part. That this is the northwestern part. It gives rain to the this part, northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent, which helps in getting a bumper crop or maximum amount of crop production. Thus, this region, that is Punjab, Haryana, and western Uttar Pradesh, that is northern part of the northwestern part of the Indian subcontinent, is known as the granary of India. As we are introduced about wheat, let us now learn about the conditions which are required for the growth of wheat. In these conditions, we know about the temperature condition, rainfall, soil type, and what are the factors that also destroy the growth of wheat. Firstly, here it is written that wheat is a rabi crop. So, what do you mean by rabi crop? Rabi crop. So, what do you mean by rabi crop? Rabi crop are the crops that are sown in winter season, but harvested in the spring season. These types of crops are sown in winter season and harvested in spring season. That is called rabi crop. So, wheat is a rabi crop and is mostly grown in the subtropical and the temperate region. Wheat requires a cool climate with the moderate rainfall, as we know that wheat cannot grow in the high temperature as it is sensitive to the high temperature and heavy rainfall. Firstly, we learn about the temperature condition. As we can see here that the temperature must be different in the different period of the cultivation. So, the 10 to 15 degrees C at the time of sowing. In the time of sowing, the wheat needed 10 to 15 degrees Celsius temperature. And in the time of harvesting, it's needed some higher temperature, that is 25 to 30 degree Celsius. Sudden rise of temperature at the time of ripening is very harmful as it may causes various damages to the wheat. The next condition that is needed for the growth of wheat is wheat grows well in the area of having annual rainfall of less than 100 centimeter. That, as we know, that wheat does not need a very moist condition, for that's why it's only needed 50 centimeter of irrigation. As in the region of very low rainfall, that is very low rainfall, wheat can grow in that regions. Next comes that the light shower during the winter season can produce a bumper crop. Previously we know that wheat does not need a heavy rainfall, but the little shower in the winter season, mainly in the winter season, can produce a bumper crop, that is maximum crop can grown if there is a light shower during the winter season. But prolonged drought at the time of maturity of grains is very harmful. So, here we see that not more and not less rainfall is needed. Only 50 centimeter of irrigation is needed, but if there is more rainfall or less rainfall, both causes harm to the crop. Another condition that needed for the growth of wheat is that the ISO height of 100 centimeter can be the boundary between the rice and the wheat production area. So, what is ISO height? It is an imaginary line. It is an imaginary line. Imaginary. It is an imaginary line on the earth's surface which connects the places which receive the same amount of rainfall in the same period. So the ISO height of 100 centimeter. What is the ISO height? ISO height is only 100 centimeter of rainfall can be the boundary between the rice and wheat producing. Why it is the boundary? Because rice needed very high temperature and also high rainfall than the wheat producing areas. Next, one effect that also causes harm to the cultivation of wheat is that the frost. So, what is the frost? When the water vapor directly condenses to a solid particles. This causes harm at the time of flowering of the wheat cultivation. Also, the hailstorm at the time of ripening can destroy the wheat crops. What is hailstorm? Hail is form of precipitation. What is hailstorm? Hail is a form of precipitation that consists of solid ice that forms the thunderstorm, that takes a form of thunderstorm. In this way hailstorm occur which damages the wheat crop. Now we can see here that about the variety of soil that is needed for the cultivation of wheat. Wheats needed very well drained fertile soil and clay loamy soil. The clay loamy soil means the very fertile soil that is found in the deltaic region are most suitable for the wheat cultivation. So the clay loamy soil are mainly found in the clayey loamy soil is the high fertile type of soil which is found in the delta type of regions. Wheat is also grown in the black soil. The black soil are mainly found in the Deccan Plateaus. Where are the Deccan Plateaus? Here this is the India and here is the Deccan Plateau. Now the geographical condition that prefers the growth of wheat cultivation is the flat and level land, the flat, level and slightly undulating. Wheat needed a growing period of 120 days. But in some part of the dwarf varieties means the crops which are much lower in height than the normal ones can mature in 90 days. So the dwarf varieties can mature previously after the normal varieties of the growing plants. The next condition that is needed for the growth of wheat is the standing crop must be protected from the wheat. As we know, any type of crops is needed to protect from the pest as it destroy the crops. So here also the wheat is also needed to protect from the pest by spraying in pesticide and insecticide. The pesticide and insecticide are the type of substance that used to control the pest in the cultivated areas.